All right, welcome to another episode of Key Biscayne Stories where neighbors meet neighbors. Today we have Nancy Stoner, is our neighbor running for village council, so we're excited to get to know you. She's been in the island for 41 years. Amazing. Welcome on the show, Nancy. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thanks. Thank you for having me.
We're excited. We have basically the same set of questions for all candidates to get to know a little bit of your background. So we're just gonna jump right in.
So what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Well, my mother, mostly advised by her example, and she always showed me and my siblings to go for it, to set our goals and just work hard and make things happen and never to be dissuaded. So that's how I've lived my life, and it stood me in pretty good stead. The other advice that I get often from my husband is to just take time and think about things. And that has also stood me in very good stead.
Tell us something about yourself that most people don't know.
A lot of people don't know that I was a dance major in undergrad, and I danced in Europe for a year. I went to New York briefly, where I quickly learned that I couldn't support myself as a dancer and that I needed to do something easier. So I would go to law school. So that's what I did. Another interesting thing, I think, a funny thing about me is that I love to fish, but I do not like to eat the fish that I catch. So everybody else in my family eats the fish, but I can't do it.
Depending on the fishing, is sometimes catching bass, depending on the fish?
Yes, depending on what you're fishing for. Like if you're fishing for tarpon or if you're fishing for sailfish, it's catch and release.
What are the most important things in your life today?
Family, 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 for me, is everything. Joe and I have a total of 5 sons, 3 wonderful daughters-in-law, 6 grandchildren, and a very large and close-knit extended family. For me, faith is important. My community and my country are important. Those are the things that drive me.
Is everybody local or?
Almost everybody. My one stepson is in San Francisco, and the other and his family, my oldest granddaughter, are in Washington, D.C.
How do you guys manage the whole Christmas and Thanksgiving?
It's a challenge. And we have great extended families. So everybody's in-laws and their family, but we all get together and make it happen.
It's always nice to have big families.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
What inspired you to run for office?
I've always wanted to serve on the council. And now at this point in my life, I have the time to do it. Once I declared as a candidate and started really getting into some of the issues, I realized what an important point we are in the condition of our community looking forward. And I feel that we have very important decisions to make that are going to determine our future, how long we can live here, and the quality of our lives here. So now I'm very driven to serve, in addition to having originally just wanted to.
So what are the most important things or issues you think the village is facing today?
The resilience and sustainability are among the 2 top priorities, because that's going to determine the quality of our lives here, as I've said, and how long we can live here. The world around us is changing, the weather is changing, and we need to adapt, and we need to start adapting now because the changes are happening. The causeway, Bearcut Bridge, access is supremely important to the residents and to the other visitors from the county who all flock to the Key because the beaches are great. Another important thing for me is that, as everyone knows, we've become a much larger community than we were years ago. And I think it's very important to find ways to engage newer residents so they feel like they are part of the community as much as those of us do who have lived here a much longer period of time.
See, I think you're right in the sense like we are growing. We are able to keep that small village feel, but at the same time, it is very noticeable that we are growing. A lot more people are staying, with those snowbirds and stuff like that, or people staying to live here. It's happening more and more every year, I think.
And our kids are all coming back. So it's really interesting that I have my oldest son that lives on the Key, and he and my daughter-in-law have 2 children. They're going to school on the Key. And my other children and grandchildren come out every weekend and spend most of the weekend here. I think it's very important for people to understand that everyone who lives here has an opinion that counts, and it doesn't matter if you've lived here 50 years or 2 weeks. If you're a resident of Key Biscayne, you're part of our community, your opinion counts. And as a council person, if I'm elected, I will be listening to everybody.
I like that because people should get involved. I mean, whether you are new to the Key or not, or you're just here for work, the village and the council people listen to everybody's voices, you know? So I think it's very important. I agree.
And can you share with us some things that you believe the Key is doing well?
I think the Key is doing a lot of things well. The programs for the community are vast. The village, coupled with the efforts of the foundation, help residents start new programs. Someone has an idea, they come to the village, they come to the foundation, and voila, we have a program and people can participate. We have a lot of very talented residents. I think the Key is also doing a good job in with the police department, with the fire department. Very, very important. And I think the council is doing a very good job looking to the future and trying to prepare and trying to adapt. It's a monumental task to decide what to do and how to do it and when to do it and how to fund it. And it's very involved, and it involves getting grants and other governments, the county, the state, the federal government. It's very complicated. So I know a lot of times I hear people say, oh, the council moves so slowly, but it's very technical and very involved. And these particular resiliency and sustainability issues that we're facing are scientific. So we have to pull in a lot of experts to get informed properly to make these decisions. I think the village is doing a great job with that.
I think you're right when it comes to some of these issues are so complex. You know, they're not as simple as A and B. You know, there's ownership issues, there's different layers of government issues, there's the relationships, getting to the people, the right people, waiting for the decisions to be made, not council-wise, but from the other levels of government and the departments. So sometimes it's not just black and white.
It is black and white. There's a whole host of gray in between, and sifting through that and trying to understand it is really time-consuming. It takes a lot of study, and it takes a lot of time to talk to the experts who are available to us and staff and make sure everybody's on the same page. The goals are the same for everybody. We all want to live here. We all want it to be great. So I think the village is doing a very good job in carving a path for us all.
The village is definitely pushing
The
our
agenda,
items,
yeah.
our agenda, and in Tallahassee and with the other layers of government all the time. So, which is also, follow-up is key. If I learned anything in my work, the only way to get stuff done is to follow up because everybody has so much to do. So when elected or if elected, one of the things that you're going to encounter is a lot of opinions, right? So how would you work with those that oppose your ideas or don't like what you're doing?
You mean of residents or of council members?
It's a good question. Nobody's ever asked that. Residents.
Residents, it's important to listen. And listen with an open mind and try and understand what the real objection is. One of the things I've learned through campaigning is everyone has an opinion, but not everyone has an informed opinion. And that's not a dig on anybody. It takes a lot of time to get informed. And I think most residents elect the council and then put their trust in the council to do the study and make the informed decision. So when speaking with residents, to date, one of the things I've done is say, we're having a workshop. You might want to go to the workshop. You could learn some more. It may not change your opinion, but it may give you some new ideas and a different perspective. And I think the village has been good in trying to get the information out, particularly on the resilience and sustainability, which I keep going back to, but it's so complex that they're trying to get the information out there to people.
That's very true. Good. Then Steve and his team do a lot to try to get the word out.
And if elected, by the time you finish your term, what would you like to be remembered for?
I would like to be remembered for having given it my all, having worked and studied very hard, having proposed creative solutions to problems, and for having been a good listener.
And what makes you believe that you stand out from other candidates?
I have a variety of skills. I'm a lawyer, both in real estate and construction, in my practice. So I have the ability to analyze problems. The construction exposure, of course, helps me with our resiliency and sustainability issues. I'm also trained as a mediator, so I have learned different techniques for finding consensus. My long history on the Key informs my understanding of the pulse of the community and what makes this community special, and it drives my determination to preserve the community spirit that we all share. We say that all the time, but I'm not sure everybody understands how unique it is that people in this community really do care about each other and take care of each other. I've seen it time and again, and oftentimes it's in smaller groups, little cliques here, little cliques there, but the bonds are real, and it's really very special. So that's a driving force for me.
And what is like a mediator exactly?
A mediator is a person who helps parties who have opposing problems, people who have filed lawsuits and would like to try and settle the problem without having to go to trial. It helps them find common ground and find a compromise and a solution to which they both agree without having to go to trial, because trial is expensive, time-consuming, and very, very nerve-wracking to have to endure. So as a mediator, you learn how to ask questions of people with different perspectives, learn where someone would compromise a little, go to the other party and find where they would compromise and maybe help them get to common ground. So it's very important technique and set of skills to bring to the table, and I'm very proud of that.
So I understand that you've been very involved in the village, doing many things. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit of how you've been participating in the village?
Sure. 13 years ago, I was appointed as a special magistrate. So I've been doing that. We meet once a month, and we have hearings, and people who have received citations for code violations come before us. And it's a very interesting point about our government, unlike some other governments, where there are fines and things like that. But mostly, this panel just wants residents to come into compliance. And so if people are showing an earnest desire to come into compliance and making effort, the penalties are often waived or reduced. So it's really an interesting reflection on the kind of government we have, because it could be a huge moneymaker for the village, but that's not the approach that our village takes. Some other things I've done, I've been on the Beach Club board several times over the years. I was on the board that made the wild decision to get rid of the Bahama shutters in our clubhouse and put up Rolladins, and it's changed the whole nature of the club because you can see the beautiful view all the time. It's really fantastic. I was chair of the 70th anniversary party that we had a couple of years ago, and that was super fun. And I've just volunteered in a lot of different things. I've volunteered over the years in the Lighthouse Run, and I've participated. I volunteered the spaghetti dinner to raise funds for the Eileen McCaughan Scholarship, and other events that come up.
So now we're going to move to a different set of questions. After a long, stressful day, how do you relax?
I have two techniques. One is I go to the beach club with a martini, and I sit there with some friends and watch the reflection of the sunset, because the sunset is on the other side of the island, but you always see purple and pink and blue hues reflecting off the clouds. So we'll sit together and relax and talk and watch the sharks go by and the rays, and it's really special. The other thing I do every single night is have a drink with my husband, and watch Jeopardy. We're both Jeopardy nerds.
And what's your go-to meal when you're having last-minute guests for dinner?
Penne pasta with vodka. That's easy and quick, but I'm the salad queen. I can throw together wild and really fun salads, so that's where I go.
It's very hard. I mean, I tend to do the same boring salad all the time, so it's good to have that skill.
And what do you love about the Key the most?
I love the water that we're surrounded by, and I love the people that live here. I just love our sense of community. That, to me, is just everything about the Key and what makes us different from living anywhere else. I feel like I really belong, and I feel like other people have this sense of belonging and being rooted here and pride in the Key, and I just think that's special.
And what's the perfect weekend for you in the Key?
The perfect weekend is to get up early in the morning with my family, including my grandchildren, getting in the boat with tostada and café con leche, going fishing for a little while, and then ending up at the white spot where everybody else hangs out. So in the afternoon, hanging out there, snorkeling over to the little wreck, hanging out with all the neighbors that we find there. Some we know well, some we get to know out there. Going back to the yacht club, dipping in the pool, having a hamburger, and going home and going to bed.
Nancy, thank you so much for jumping on the show, and it's been great to have you. Is there anything else you want to share with us?
Well, thank you for having me. Of course, I would love to be elected because I feel like I have a lot to offer and that I would be a good steward for the residents. And also, I would like to thank all the people who have expressed their support for me, either by honking as they go by when I'm waving with a sign, or texting me or calling me. I'm really, truly humbled by people's confidence in me and their trust in me.
I also want to take some time to thank you for taking this leap. I know it's going to be a lot of work. The work that people see, the work that people don't see, like all the studying you're going to be doing away from your family and all that kind of stuff. So knowing all that, we thank you for doing this.
Thank you.